I love logging on to Instagram and seeing that you all are doing some other action, some other organizing, some other advocacy rooted event. And today you're here to talk about something that is in that vein. You have an event coming up. We know that we're going back to school. A lot of parents are concerned. My daughter just convinced me to put braids in her hair, and child, when I tell you, when I tell you, when I tell you. So talk with us today about this event that you have, and why hair violence and some of the trauma that we experience as a result of the I was going to say as a result of the Black aesthetic, but it's not our aesthetic that's the problem. It's the racism as against our aesthetic that's the problem. Talk to us about this event and what we need to be aware of as we move forward to navigate some of these issues.
Yes, so thank you, Lurie. The event is called Rooted in Wellness, Addressing Hair Loss with Experts, because August is National Hair Loss Awareness Month. I don't know if a lot of
Oh,
people know.
wow.
Yes, and so our job is to raise awareness around these issues so that people know that, yes, there is an issue, but there are also solutions to this issue. So we know that hair loss has been mired in stigma for a long time, and people are, ashamed, embarrassed. And so we want to create a safe space for people to come and learn, right? Learn about this condition, learn about some of the contributions, right? Some of the things that we're doing on our own to contribute to this hair loss, but then also having an opportunity to learn from experts in the field who are addressing this issue. And so there is a growing partnership that's happening across the country that we are very excited about. And Diane C. Bailey is a part of this partnership, which is dermatologists who are specializing in hair loss, partnering with natural hair care professionals. And that is so important because we're in an epidemic of hair loss right now in Black women. And who better to help address this than the hairstylists who are right there in the thick of it? But if you're not trained, if you're not knowledgeable about what to look for, then that's why people will just be, going around with hair loss and not addressing it. And the most important thing that we want to highlight is the fact that a lot of hair loss issues is basically a first sign to an underlying condition. And so this is more than just the aesthetics. We're talking about our health. And so all the events that we're putting on is really to highlight the connection between our hair health and our physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, and our well-being at the end of the day.
Mm. This is a little timely. I just got a retie for my locks yesterday, and y'all know my mama does my hair, and so she was like, "Oh, you're doing good. You're taking your vitamins. Your hair's looking strong." This is one of the few times she did not have massive critiques for the quality of my hair. But Diane C. Bailey, not all of us have a mama who is a natural hair stylist, cosmetologist, Sister-Lock consultant, and this epidemic that Natasha just spoke about. What's the significance of it? Do we have any numbers to indicate how significant of a problem hair loss is for Black women or Black community in general?
Absolutely. So far, we've estimated almost over 50% of Black women in our community have some form of alopecia. There are different forms. There are scarring and non-scarring, and many of them have one or both, which means some of it will not come back. The hair has been traumatized from either inflammation or from manipulation, so therefore it will not come back. So the real issue that we're going to be talking about at the event is to allow women the freedom of stop hiding. We are a community, and if you have a need, there needs to be a space and a place where they can come. Of course, me working with a dermatologist, I started working with her 3 years ago. I came there with maybe 30 clients. And in 3 years, I have over 400 revolving clients. The percentage is really high. It's over 300%. I came there with 30 clients, and now I have over 400. So there's a need that's not being met. And so our job, our passion is to let the community be aware. And our community means not just clients, but the hairstylists as well.
You know, I heard something in what Natasha said that I wanted to come back to, and that was this idea that some of this we are contributing to ourselves, and I'm interested about that part in particular because as I've been having these conversations with my daughter, you know, she's going into middle school now, and so hair is a real thing, and she knows she has been raised in a particular way, and so we talk about things like keeping your edges, and she's at a black dance school, and the dance school is like, well, you ain't gonna do is have 56 inches of baby hair swoop down onto your forehead. Like we gonna brush if it's that much baby hair, it ain't baby no more. Brush it on back in. But there's this idea that while some of this is triggered by the stressors we experience and a whole host of other reasons, some of this to a certain extent may also be self-inflicted. Can you tease that portion out for us just a little bit?
Well, basically, you know, children see and repeat what they know. Your daughter is good because you're a perfect example of what you should be doing. So you guiding her by doing. The thing is, in our culture, this behavior has been repeated and repeated and repeated. And part of it is, and I hate to say this, it's about self-loathing. It's about non-respect of textured hair. It's about the psyche. It's about the spirit. Natasha talked about this earlier. Our standard of beauty is holistic. And so the scarring that we've had for hundreds of years of not being good enough is implied in our hair. And so the baby hair concept, needing every part to be precise, so that every follicle is aligned with the stars, all the nonsense that goes on with hair care in our community, right? So our job is to humanize it, soften it, give it flexibility, and allow the spectrum of hair care and hair textures be acceptable and received in wellness.
Yeah. You know, Erin, we saw a lot of this when Representative Ayanna Pressley revealed that she had been suffering from alopecia. And then when she began wearing, because she used to have maybe it was a Senegalese. I feel like remember her wearing like the twists and the twist extensions. And then she has since revealed that after suffering with hair loss, she has instead decided to do exactly what Diane just said, accept it and walk in the beauty of a bald head, right? And as somebody who went natural the first time with a massive big chop where I over chopped and ended up with a little bit of a buzz cut in some ways. It was the 90s, folks. Don't be mad. That was not just a real demonstration of having to grapple with sort of that internal messaging that Diane just talked about, but it was also a physical declaration of embracing what is and being able to find and sit in the beauty. And she's absolutely gorgeous, but the idea that so many of us fear hair loss, as we should, because hair loss is something, I shouldn't say fear. So many of us are concerned about hair loss, which we absolutely should be. But the reality is that when some of it is inflicted as a result of our own internalized white supremacist beliefs, and we are participating in inflicting trauma on ourselves, and this is really timely considering the moment of gratitude we just had today. Talk to us about what that process of healing looks like when you're meeting with clients who are sitting in your chair. Clearly, child, they holding on to strands and they got more scalp than root. What is it that those clients need to understand? I'm saying clients, not women, because this is not just a gendered thing. This is men and women, this of all genders and non-genders. What are the steps that we should be taking to really unpack what some of that trauma looks like?
Well, really, it's something that is internal. It's something that is really about how you view yourself. Like when you look in the mirror, who do you see? What do you see? How do you feel? Are you feeling good, or are you feeling all of the things that have been packed onto you all of your life, not just on a micro level, but on a macro level, right? So that's the first step. And sometimes it's a hard step when you have a client in the chair that has suffered hair violence. We'll call it hair violence because trauma is the residual of the hair violence. Okay. Where you have, individuals that are in your chair looking for repair, looking for solution.
Erin, I'm sorry, just because we've used the phrase hair violence a couple of times now, and I'm already aware that people are like, what the heck are they talking about, hair violence? Can you just define what you mean by that and then go on?
So hair violence is basically, poor practices that are being taught or handed down from generation to generation due to lack of education and understanding of the science of hair and the needs. It's also hair loss, tight braiding, tight ponytails, anything that is inflicting harm or something that is not there for the hair care portion of your hair. So it could be anything. It could be, how someone brushes your hair, how someone combs your hair. It can be how your mama beats you on top of your head while you're getting your hair done. That is hair violence. And so the result of that is hair trauma.
Mm. Wow. Okay. So again, this gets back to that self-infliction, right? If we're talking about taking responsibility, folks, we also have to take responsibility for the way in which we perpetuate this harm. I remember saying in my book years ago that part of the reason it is so easy to discriminate as against Black hair in the corporate space is because we within the Black space have normalized discriminating against Black hair. That is not by far the only reason. It is not the original reason, but it is one of the things that helps to continually breathe life into this idea that our hair is inappropriate as it grows from our head, as if the God of the universe got everything else correct, but then messed up that one thing. Like it was like everything else was good until then. So thank you for helping to break that down. So let's talk about this program. Is it something that is appropriate for young people? I sort of just intuited back to school into the conversation. It might be something that's more for adults. I don't know. Natasha, give us a sense as to what this program will do and how it's designed to help people navigate and overcome some of the traumas that we've just discussed.
Yeah, I think, for me, I being in this industry for a long time, I'm always getting asked for recommendations for hairstylists, recommendations for professionals. And a lot of people have reported a difficulty, right, in finding consistent quality hair care. And so that's why this event was so important for us to put on, because the first part of it, you're going to have a fireside chat between Diane Bailey and Dr. Chima Osei Tutu is the dermatologist that we're going to be featuring. And we're going to be talking about their partnership. And they're also going to give a mock consultation, if you will, right? Because a lot of people, again, they go to hairstylists and sometimes there's not that relationship there. With someone who is that close to you, there should be a relationship. There should be a conversation about what is going to be expected, what are you expecting, and what do you expect from each other? It should be a level of mutual respect and understanding. And a lot of times there's that conversation, that consultation is not happening. So we want to demonstrate that for the audience so that they know. And I do encourage people to bring their children because our behaviors start when we're young, right? And if you're not brought up in the way to understand that this is your body and this is how you take care of it, and someone that you're inviting into your space should know what they're doing, should be qualified, should care about you, you know what I mean? And so starting off young with this behavior is very, very important. So I do encourage parents to bring their children. This is a family event. This is a community event. And so having dermatologists who are hair loss experts to talk about hair loss, but then also the other side of it is having that qualified professional who is prioritizing hair care over hair health. I cannot stress that more important. The folks that
you said
clients that Diane
prioritizing hair care over what was that?
Oh, over hairstyle, excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, so you mean the way my hair look ain't as important as the way my hair be? Is that, am I to understand you correctly?
Yes, absolutely. Style is just style and it's beautiful and we love it. And natural hair, part of our mission is to elevate the art and the science of natural hair care, right? So it's an art, but it's also a science. And again, it is directly related to our overall health, our physical health, our emotional health, and our mental health, right? We're talking about the way that we feel, the way that we see ourselves. This is very deep. So I also wanted to say that, hair loss is sort of a gift in a certain way. And the reason why I say that is because hair is the first thing to go when there's an issue. So if your hair is shedding, right, more than normal, your body is speaking to you. Our bodies are so amazing. If we understand how to communicate with ourselves, then that's really half the battle right there. It's
Right.
really
Right.
being aware and being mindful of your health and your body and your wellness. And so we want to really shift the perspective around hair care, because hairstyle is great, like I said, but
Yeah.
really we're talking about you at the end of the day. How do you feel
Wow.
about you? How do you take care of you? And so we have top natural hair care professionals, from braiders to locticians to texture experts, who will be there offering attendees mini consultations. Because again, I'm always asked,
Amazing.
do you have a natural hairstylist? Do you have a braider? And so my job, my role in this community is sort of a connector. And I want to be that bridge between the professionals and the community, because I know once they find each other, a lot of these issues that we are dealing with right now will go away for sure.
Natasha, I'm so glad you said that, because that is actually something that my mom taught me from very young. Sickness in your body will signal to you. And so when we were younger and we were very, yeah, now my story, very naturopathically inclined, we would go to Asian doctors, we would go to African doctors from a variety of countries, indigenous doctors, and they would employ different sorts of techniques than what we were getting in Western medicine. So like they would ask us all the questions, yes, but then they would also look at our eyes, because your eyes, when you look at them microscopically, can indicate where there might be other issues in the body. Same with the hair. Same with the nail beds, which is one of the reasons why constantly wearing a fake nails or constantly applying nails to your cuticles can mask some of the things that your cuticle beds, your nail beds, can tell you about the health of your body. Your hair is very much the same. If your hair is falling out, if you have bald patches showing up, if you've got a breakage or shrinkage, something is happening. And it's great to be able to have somebody who can make you look good and cover up that bald spot. But baby, covering up the bald spot, which is only there to signal to you, hey, yo, son, something is off. We got to fix something. You are essentially masking your body's warning signs, flashing signs, saying, hey, bruh, sis, we might need to get something checked out. And that can, for many people, be the first time that they learn about sickness is from their hairstylist. I cannot tell you how many times my mom has had people in her chair and she's like, you need to get checked out. Something ain't right. Your water levels are this, because she's one of the people who will feel your hair and be like, oh yeah, okay. And then the ancestors say something and then she'd be like, here you go. And so like that's the, and I know a lot of y'all, I'm looking at you, Diane and Erin, I know a lot of y'all got that gift. And so not being able to have a hair care professional who is keyed into hair health and who is more concerned about how you look coming out the chair as opposed to how your body be coming out the chair, very, very different things. So I'm really grateful for you explaining that and breaking that down. Now, Diane, I realize we done talked all about this program and this event. Is it in person? Because that means half more, like 98% of the audience ain't gonna be able to participate, so which means y'all gonna have to take this on the road. How can people who are able to participate, what's the best way for them to attend? When is the event? Give us a sense of some of the partnerships. Give us the details on the event itself.
Well, Natasha, this is her production. This is her vision.
Okay,
and I'm going to hand it over to her.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Natasha, take us home.
Okay, it is an in-person event. It will be recorded and later put on the Main Moves TV channel, the YouTube channel.
Excellent.
So definitely follow Main Moves. That's MANEMOVES on YouTube. And it's an in-person event. It's going to be at New York Beauty Suites, located at 495 Flatbush Avenue. So we're partnering with them. They're our community partner, and they are a co-working space for beautypreneurs. And so it was.
And I've been there before.
Yes.
You guys had an event there before. It was phenomenal. That
They
was
have two
like maybe a
locations.
couple. Oh wow.
They have a few
Okay, I'm
locations,
sorry.
yeah.
I just got hyped because I know it's a dope organization.
We love Joanne, who's the founder of New York Beauty Suites, who have created this opportunity for beautypreneurs to come together in community and grow with each other. So, it's a great space for us to partner. And so it's also, I didn't say this, but this event is part of a fundraiser as well. And so I was recently diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer back in April. And this is a part of fundraising for my holistic healing journey. And so, I will also have someone from We Act there to address the crowd on their Beauty Justice Act, because they are looking to talked to legislators in New York State to pass a law that will remove harmful chemicals from our beauty products. So that's something that we didn't talk about as well, right?
Wow.
There are toxins. Yes, there are toxins in
No,
everything.
go ahead. Go ahead.
You know that there's a lot of lawsuits that are happening against companies who produce chemical relaxers because of the links to breast cancer, uterine cancer, fibroids, and all these things. So that's why I say our beauty, okay, our perception of our beauty is tied to our health. It is tied to our health. We have to realize, we have to understand that the things that we put into our bodies will affect us. And I think that because of marketing, because of just, just not paying attention, not just being aware, right? Just being inundated with just life, we're not really understanding that these things, like, we have the power in our hands. We do. And once we come back to ourselves, we'll realize we don't even need all of those things. We thought we needed a relaxer, right? That was the thing. It's going to make our lives easier. It's going to help us become more accepted. And these were the messages that we were told over and over again until it just became a habit, just became a way of being. But now we can be different. We can be who we were designed to be. And we are perfectly designed, and we are perfectly made just the way that we are. You just have to believe
Natasha,
that.
My heart breaks at the fact that you're navigating this health journey, and yet at the same time, I'm inspired because of your story. It's caused a lot of us to take stock in the way that we show up, and I, after learning about your diagnosis and sort of like getting over the shock of it, the next conversation I had with my colorist was, how, when we talk about these chemicals and perms and all the things that could cause cancer, what's up with hair color? Because, and I have not, the only thing I use in my hair is hair color, because I have a lot of gray hair. I started going prematurely gray in my 20s, and it's pure vanity. And like, we had stopped doing the permanent and we were doing the temporary rinse. And I was like, Nicole, shout out to Nicole over at Sabine's Hallway in Brooklyn, in Nostrand Avenue, 405, Sabine'sHallway.com is where you can find her. But she's the only person who's ever colored my hair besides Natural Hollywood, Jennifer Lord. And so those are the only two women that I trust when it comes to coloring my hair. And we had a very frank conversation, and she was like, baby, listen, the chemicals are there. Like, if you want that look, the chemicals are there. And she gave me some natural conditioners that will deposit color, which I then transitioned to. And she's like, and here's the thing, Lurie, you don't need me for that. You can get the conditioner, order the conditioner, wash your hair, put the conditioner on, it'll deposit the color, far fewer chemicals, very, very temporary, but it will allow you to sort of ease your way off of this addiction to this look and this aesthetic. And so, as much as I'm telling people, be inspired, embrace your hair, like, child, if y'all can see how much gray hair I have up underneath all this color, like, it's a real thing. Vanity and these messages are really powerful. And I have written a whole ass book on embracing who we are. Diane, talk to us.
Well, I wanted to add to that. When you say embrace yourself, you don't mean just pieces and parts. You mean the entire person. And so gray is a part of that. And even though you might have a colorant that says it is vegan or that it is, safe, it is not. It is not. The pigmentation, God did some amazing things when he made this earth, but he did not make a plant that could color your hair and cover that gray with its entirety. Yes, it can soften it for a short period of time, but it is not really as effective as, of course, a man-made chemical. So my suggestion to people like yourself who are in that space, be gentle. Instead of coloring it every 6 weeks, make it every 3 months or every 4 months. Don't expose yourself to so much of the chemicals as often. Give it some time to dissipate, because it's the repetition that we're concerned with. If you color your hair 3 times a year, so be it. But if you color your hair every month, that's horrible, and that will be effective on your health. So it's just an awareness. We just want you to have an awareness and know that you have options. Unfortunately, we lived in a society where straight hair didn't seem like it was an option. It was, it was pushed on us. And now we have women who are unable to have children. We have women with uterine cancer. We have women who are suffering greatly because they chose an aesthetic that was not their own.
My God. And that last part, Diane, that's the part that that really gets to me, because this idea that we have twisted, contorted, manipulated, adjusted, bent, broken, squeezed ourselves into these very limiting boxes of what is considered beautiful, these very limiting boxes that were intentionally designed by default to exclude us. And so here, it's kind of like when Shirley Chisholm says, if they're going to keep, not allow you a seat at the table, bring your own folding chair. Well, that makes sense when we're talking about grabbing power. But when it comes to causing ourselves to look like someone that we were never genetically designed to look like, when it comes to this idea that we see that beauty standard, that again, the people who created it did so that we would be excluded. And here we come with our folding chairs. You gonna let me in this beauty standard? I don't know who you think you are. Let me in this standard. That is essentially what it is that we're doing when we adopt these ideas that beauty has to look this particular way, and we will literally kill ourselves to get there.